SAFM, South Africa's news and information leader.
Thanks, Nancy. South Africa's economy unlikely to deliver on its key development targets, and preparations for Duzi Canoe Marathon on track. Good afternoon. South Africa's economy remains structurally vulnerable and is unlikely to deliver on its key development targets. That's one of the findings of the transformation audit released by the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation. The study is a measure of how far the country has come in transforming its economy to benefit the poor. The study has also found that the educated and affluent continue to be the major beneficiaries of a skills-based economy. Head of Policy Jan Hofmeyer says there is no cohesion between the various policies of government.
He's talked about connecting coal mines to ports through improved rail infrastructure, but how does that speak to the question of creating a green economy? How does the rail infrastructure investment also speak to the issue of commuter rail and getting South Africans to work to overcome the spatial limitations that apartheid has placed on workers in South Africa?
Minister in the Presidency, Trevor Manuel, says there is an urgent need to develop a more coherent and inclusive approach to deal with the land question. He was speaking during the State of the Nation Address debate in Parliament. Manuel says municipalities also need to play an active role.
All municipalities should be encouraged to formulate specific land policies showing how vacant and underused land will be developed and managed to achieve wider socio-economic objectives. Our plans include radically revising the housing finance regime by shifting funding away from building single houses to supporting the development of a wide variety of housing types with different tenure arrangements, including affordable rental and social housing.
The Road Traffic Management Corporation has admitted that it has serious financial problems. RTMC has asked the Treasury and the National Transport Department to bail it out. CEO Collins Letswalo says the previous management's misuse of funds has caused the problems. Letswalo says 2 years ago, 200 million rand was misappropriated. He says despite this, the corporation will continue to discharge its traffic management mandate.
Operations are not affected by this. This is why we call it technical insolvency. It's technical insolvency because it's an accounting entry that deals with issues of assets versus liabilities. It has got nothing to do with our cash flow position or anything that has got to do with issues of solvency itself. The issue of technical insolvency is that just money that was spent long ago. We have now discussed with the Treasury, we have discussed with the National Department of Transport, we have ensured that that money is going to be written off, and once it's written off, we are back into a state of solvency.
A 25-year-old Zimbabwean woman has been arrested at the Cape Town International Airport for allegedly being in possession of the drug cat worth about 17,000 rand. But his spokesperson Andrew Trout says the woman arrived on a flight from Johannesburg and the drugs were found in her luggage. Trout says the woman is expected to appear in the Bellville Magistrates Court later today. The European Union says South Africa should diversify its trade partners as its substantial trade with European countries makes it vulnerable to the current financial crisis in the Eurozone. EU delegates formed part of networking sessions with Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lille. Representatives of 60 countries attended the event, which is aimed at forging stronger trade links with the city. Head of the EU delegation, Roland van der Geer.
About 30% of South Africa's trade is going to the European Union, and almost 60% of that is manufactured goods. But given that there is a worldwide economic crisis, 1/3 is a very big part of the export. And that makes South Africa, of course, also vulnerable for our crisis. So we have to look at that jointly very carefully.
And finally, officials say preparations for the 3-day Duzi Canoe Marathon are on track. The marathon will start in Pietermaritzburg tomorrow and finish in Durban on Saturday. This year, the 120-kilometer marathon will feature many top local and international contenders. Unlimited Duzi coordinator Ray de Vries says many eyes are expected to be on Michael Mbanja and his partner Eric Zondi since it's a home race for them.
All eyes are on Michael Mbanja and his partner Eric Zondi. They've been paddling very well recently and they're from the valley, so it's a home game for them. Andy Burkett and Jason Graham are also in very, very good shape, as well as Hank McGregor and Len Jenkins. Those three crews are going to be battling it out over the next 3 days. So we're expecting almost 1,800 people to come to Pietermaritzburg today to come and register, prepare their boats and get ready for the greatest marathon of them all, the Unlimited Duzi.